everyone. Welcome back to Speak English Fluently. I'm Emma, and as always, I'm here with James. I'm so excited about today's topic because it's one that can truly transform how you learn and speak English.
Hey everyone! Yes, today we're diving into a topic that many learners underestimate: how reading can dramatically improve your speaking skills. Most people think, I need to practice speaking more, and they ignore reading. But the truth is, reading is one of the fastest ways to speak confidently and naturally.
Exactly. And what I love about reading is that it trains your brain to think in English. That's the real key to fluency. When your brain starts creating ideas in English without translating from your native language, speaking becomes much easier and smoother.
Right. Think of reading as a silent coach sitting in your mind. Every word, every sentence you read adds tools to your mental toolbox. And when it's time to speak, your brain doesn't have to build sentences from scratch. It already knows patterns, phrases, and expressions.
And that's why many learners hesitate when they speak. Their brain hasn't absorbed enough English patterns yet. Reading gives you those patterns naturally, without memorizing a single grammar rule. You see English in action, in context, which is so much more effective than any isolated exercise.
Absolutely. For example, when you repeatedly read a phrase like, "It's raining cats and dogs," you start to understand it instantly without translating. Later, when speaking, your mind just recalls it, and it comes out naturally. That's how real fluency grows.
Another huge advantage is vocabulary growth. Reading exposes you to words repeatedly, so they stay in your memory. And because you see them in context, you also know how to use them correctly in sentences.
Exactly. For instance, you might see the word breathtaking in a story like, "The view from the mountain was breathtaking." The next time you want to describe something amazing, you remember it automatically, and it fits perfectly in your spoken English.
And reading aloud makes an even bigger impact. When you read aloud, you train your mouth, ears, and brain simultaneously. You practice pronunciation, rhythm, and expression all at once. It's like giving your speaking muscles a workout without even thinking.
Yes, and recording yourself reading is another powerful trick. You can listen back and notice areas to improve. Maybe you rushed a sentence, mispronounced a word, or needed a pause. Listening to yourself builds awareness and confidence.
And it doesn't take long. Even 10 minutes of focused reading every day can make a noticeable difference in a few weeks. The key is consistency. 10 minutes daily is better than 2 hours once a week because the brain learns through repeated, spaced exposure.
Absolutely. And the type of material matters too. Pick things you enjoy. Reading should be fun, not a chore. If you read something boring or too difficult, you'll give up quickly. Short stories, articles, blogs, or novels, whatever excites you will keep you coming back.
Yes, and you can mix intensive and extensive reading. Intensive reading is when you focus on a short passage and study the details, vocabulary, grammar, and sentence structure. Extensive reading is when you read longer texts for pleasure, focusing on understanding the flow rather than every word.
That's a powerful combination. Intensive reading sharpens accuracy, while extensive reading builds fluency and rhythm. For example, you might read a short article in the morning and enjoy a short story in the evening. Each type trains your brain differently, but complements the other.
And here's something I love: emotional reading. When you connect emotionally with a story, you remember the words, expressions, and ideas longer. That emotional connection creates deeper retention, and later, your speaking reflects the richness of what you've absorbed.
Exactly. I remember a sentence from a novel I read years ago. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. That one line stayed with me and influenced how I speak and express ideas. Emotional resonance makes language memorable.
Now let's talk about turning reading into real speaking practice. It's not enough to read silently. After reading, summarize the story or article aloud in your own words. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to get your brain thinking and speaking in English simultaneously.
Even 1 minute of summarizing aloud trains your mind to convert comprehension into expression. You'll notice that over time, your speech becomes smoother because your brain is already familiar with sentence structures from reading.
And repetition is key. Pick sentences or paragraphs you liked and read them aloud multiple times. Focus on tone, rhythm, and expression. This kind of practice strengthens both memory and natural speaking flow.
Another tip is journaling about what you read. Writing 1 or 2 sentences reinforces your comprehension and speaking. It also allows you to experiment with new vocabulary in a safe environment.
Exactly. Combining reading, speaking, and writing makes your learning holistic. You're no longer just memorizing words, you're using them actively.
Let's discuss habit building. Pick a small, achievable daily goal, maybe 10 minutes of reading and 1 paragraph aloud. The key is consistency. It's better to do a little every day than a lot once a week.
And create a routine. Maybe read with your morning coffee or before bed. Make it a ritual. This trains your brain to expect English exposure daily.
Also, don't get stuck on unknown words. Guess from context and keep reading. Over time, your brain automatically remembers and uses them.
Exactly. The goal is comprehension and flow, not perfection. Fluency grows from repeated exposure and understanding, not memorization.
Let's give a practical example. A learner reads 1 news article every morning. At night, they summarize it aloud in a minute or 2. After a month, they notice their sentences are longer, vocabulary is richer, and speaking feels easier.
And they don't need extra memorization or drills. Their brain has absorbed patterns naturally through reading.
Yes, reading is a silent teacher, guiding your brain to recognize grammar, vocabulary, and style.
And it builds confidence. The more you read, the more phrases and ideas you have to express in conversation.
Eventually, speaking English feels effortless. You're not translating, you're thinking and expressing in English naturally.
And that's the ultimate goal: thinking in English. Fluency is the natural result of consistent, meaningful exposure through reading.
Exactly. So today's takeaway: read daily, enjoy the material, read aloud, summarize, and write a little. Combine intensive, extensive, and emotional reading.
Yes, and remember, even small daily efforts add up. 10 minutes every day is better than 1 hour once a week.
And over time, your speaking improves without extra stress.
Fluency is not just about speaking more. It's about feeding your brain, training your mind, and building natural expression through reading.
Exactly. And every story, sentence, or paragraph you read gives you tools for real conversations.
So start today. Pick one short text, read it, feel it, and say it aloud. Your English voice is waiting to grow.
And remember, reading is your silent, patient coach. It builds confidence, vocabulary, pronunciation, and rhythm. All these together make speaking easier and natural.
Let's go deeper into how reading helps you sound more natural. When you read, you start noticing how native speakers form their sentences. You see where they pause, what kind of words they use, and how they connect ideas.
Yes, and that rhythm is everything. The English language has a natural music to it. The ups and downs, the stress and tone. When you read a lot, especially aloud, you start hearing that rhythm in your head, and you naturally copy it when you speak.
Exactly. For example, take a short paragraph from a novel and read it out loud slowly. You'll notice how your tone changes with emotion. That tone control later becomes part of your real conversations.
And you know what's interesting? Many people who struggle with flat or robotic speech just haven't listened or read enough English with emotion. Reading literature or stories is like learning the melody of English conversation.
That's a beautiful way to put it. English has a melody, and reading helps you tune your ear and voice to that melody.
Now let's talk about grammar, everyone's favorite topic, right? Laughs. Reading teaches grammar without you even realizing it. You start understanding how sentences are built just by seeing them over and over again.
Yes, you'll know instinctively when a sentence feels wrong because you've seen so many correct ones. That's why native speakers rarely think about grammar rules. Their brain learned them through years of reading and listening.
So, if you're tired of grammar drills, start reading more. You'll pick up grammar patterns naturally and apply them when speaking.
And here's another benefit. Reading improves your mental speed. When you read regularly, your brain gets faster at processing English. So when you speak, you don't pause too much trying to find the right words.
That's a really important point. A lot of learners can't speak fast because their brain is still translating. Reading trains your brain to think in English. You see words and meanings together, so translation becomes unnecessary.
It's like giving your brain a workout at the gym. Each paragraph you read strengthens your English muscles. And the stronger they get, the faster you respond in real conversations.
Exactly. That's why advanced speakers don't just talk a lot, they read a lot too. The more input you feed your mind, the more output you can produce smoothly.
Let's talk about what to read. Many learners ask, should I read novels or textbooks? And the answer is, read what you love. Choose materials that genuinely interest you.
If you love sports, read sports articles. If you love science, read simple science blogs. The more interested you are, the more your brain stays engaged. Reading is like food. You'll only eat what tastes good to you.
That's so true. I remember when I started reading English magazines about travel. I wasn't studying. I was just curious about different countries. But over time, I realized my speaking improved because I was absorbing natural expressions from those articles.
Exactly. Curiosity makes learning automatic. You don't force yourself. The language just flows into your brain naturally.
And here's something really effective. Combine reading with listening. Many books today have free audiobooks or read-along videos online. You can read and listen at the same time to train both your eyes and ears.
Yes, that's one of my favorite techniques. It helps with pronunciation and rhythm. When you hear how words are spoken and see them at the same time, your memory becomes much stronger.
Also, reading aloud dialogues is amazing. You can act out conversations from stories or movies, even play both roles yourself. It might sound silly at first, but it's a fantastic way to build confidence and fluency.
I totally agree. Drama reading, or what teachers call shadow reading, is one of the best speaking practices ever. You imitate tone, rhythm, and speed just like an actor.
And you don't need a partner for it. Just pick a book or script, read both parts, and record yourself. You'll be surprised how quickly your speaking energy improves.
Exactly. It turns your learning time into fun practice. You're not just reading, you're performing in English.
And performing makes you feel alive in the language. It builds emotional connection, which helps you express yourself better later.
That's so important. Confidence isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about expressing emotion clearly. Reading helps you feel English, not just learn it.
Let's talk about mindset too. Many learners see reading as boring homework, but if you shift your mindset, it becomes a doorway to imagination. Every story you read adds new words and new worlds to your mind.
Exactly. And that mental imagery helps you speak better because you're training your mind to visualize ideas in English. When you can see the image in your head, your words flow more easily.
That's why readers often describe things beautifully. They've read so many vivid descriptions that they naturally speak with emotion and detail.
Yes, reading makes your speech more expressive. Instead of saying, "I was happy," you might say, "I felt a wave of joy," because you've seen that kind of expression used before.
And that's how your English becomes not just correct, but beautiful. You start sounding natural and expressive, just like native speakers.
And remember, you don't have to read big books to get these results. Even short texts like blog posts, poems, or social media captions can have powerful expressions.
Exactly. 5 minutes of reading something inspiring can be more effective than hours of memorizing vocabulary lists.
So, the next time you feel lazy to study, just pick a short English text. Read it slowly, enjoy it, and maybe read it aloud once or twice. You'll still be learning deeply.
Let's give an example of a daily routine, shall we?
Sure, let's say your day starts with 10 minutes of reading in the morning. You pick an article you enjoy and underline a few interesting phrases.
Then, in the evening, you summarize it out loud, maybe while cooking or walking. You can record yourself and listen later. That way, reading connects directly to speaking.
And after a few weeks, you'll notice you're using those same phrases in natural conversations. It's amazing how fast it works when you make it part of your daily life.
Yes, because you're not forcing learning. You're living in the language. Reading becomes part of your world, like breathing English, every day.
That's the magic formula. Read, enjoy, speak. The 3 steps keep your progress steady and enjoyable.
And you can track your improvement too. Keep a small notebook or digital journal. Write down any phrase you loved or used. Over time, you'll see how much richer your vocabulary becomes.
It's motivating when you look back and realize how far you've come. Every page you read adds to your speaking confidence.
Exactly. Reading is not a side activity. It's a foundation. It builds your understanding, rhythm, and emotional connection to English.
So, if you want to speak like a native, start reading like one. Books, blogs, captions, anything that feeds your curiosity and keeps you learning.
Now that we've explored how reading strengthens your vocabulary, rhythm, and confidence, let's move towards something deeper. How reading changes the way you think in English.
That's such an important point. The more you read, the more your thoughts start forming in English. You no longer translate word by word. Ideas come directly in the language.
Exactly. And that's the real goal, right? Thinking in English is what separates learners from fluent speakers. Reading is the bridge that gets you there naturally, without pressure.
Yes, because every story you read is like living another person's life. You start to think how they think, speak how they speak, and understand the culture behind their words.
That cultural understanding is powerful. When you read, you're not just learning vocabulary, you're learning context. You see how people use humor, emotion, or politeness in different situations.
And that makes your conversations more natural. You stop sounding like a textbook and start sounding like a real person.
For example, imagine reading a short novel or even an online story. You'll find that characters don't always speak in full, perfect sentences. They interrupt, use slang, or laugh mid-sentence. And that's what real English sounds like.
Exactly! You learn the rhythm of human conversation, not just grammar structure.
And once you've absorbed that rhythm through reading, speaking becomes smoother. It flows. You don't overthink. You just talk.
That's what fluency really is. Not perfection, but flow. Reading teaches your brain to connect words quickly, so you express ideas easily.
And speaking of flow, let's talk about confidence again. Reading builds quiet confidence. You might not realize it, but the more knowledge you have, the less fear you feel when speaking.
Yes, because confidence often comes from clarity. When you know what to say and how to say it, fear disappears. Reading gives you that clarity through understanding.
Think of it like this. Every time you read, you're filling your mind with tools. And every time you speak, you're simply using those tools. The more tools you have, the easier it gets to build any sentence.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. Reading quietly builds your speaking foundation, brick by brick, without stress.
And that's why many fluent speakers say they didn't become good speakers by speaking a lot. They became good by reading and listening deeply.
Right. Speaking practice is important, but without input, your output stays limited. Reading gives your brain the raw material to create beautiful speech.
Let's also talk about consistency, because like any skill, you need to make it a habit. Reading 5 minutes every day is better than reading 2 hours once a week.
Exactly. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wait for the weekend to clean everything at once. You do it daily. And that's how small habits create big results.
And here's a simple idea. Connect reading with your routine. Maybe every morning while drinking coffee, you read one English paragraph. Or every night before bed, you read a page from your favorite story.
Those small moments add up. Over months, you'll notice how much smoother your speech sounds, how easily you form sentences, and how confident you've become.
That's true. You won't even realize it happening. One day, you'll just speak naturally and wonder, when did I become fluent?
And that's the beauty of it. Slow, invisible progress that lasts forever.
Let's share a few practical reading tips for our listeners, shall we?
Sure. Tip 1. Choose the right level. Don't start with complex novels. Pick simple, enjoyable books or graded readers that match your current level.
Tip 2. Don't stop to check every single word. Focus on understanding the main idea. Context will teach you the meaning over time.
Tip 3. Read things you love. Passion keeps you consistent. If you love crime stories, read them. If you love romance, dive into that world. There's no wrong choice.
Tip 4. Read aloud sometimes. It improves pronunciation, intonation, and confidence.
And tip 5. Summarize what you read, out loud or in writing. This helps you remember phrases and express them in your own way.
Perfect tips. And remember, you don't need to rush. Fluency takes time, but it's not hard when you enjoy the process.
That's right. Reading is like watering a plant. The growth might be slow, but it's certain.
I love that analogy. Every page you read adds a drop of water to your English growth. One day, that plant becomes a strong tree, fluent, confident, and full of life.
So don't underestimate the power of a simple book or article. It might just be the key that opens your next level of fluency.
And the best part, reading is always available. You don't need a partner, a teacher, or even a classroom. You just need curiosity and time.
Exactly. English learning doesn't always need to be loud or busy. Sometimes the quiet moments, you, your book, your thoughts, bring the biggest progress.
Beautifully said, James. Because reading is not just learning words. It's connecting to voices, emotions, and ideas across the world.
That's the true magic of it. Every story you read connects you to millions of English speakers, past and present.
And one day, your own story, your voice, might inspire someone else to learn too.
That's the power of language. It's not just about speaking fluently, but connecting deeply.
So to everyone listening, remember, every page matters. Read with joy, speak with confidence, and keep growing every single day.
Thank you for tuning in to Speak English Fluently. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next episode. And until then, keep reading, keep speaking, and keep shining.